Hello and welcome to a special edition of ITV News on Channel Television on this, the International Day of People with Disabilities, live from St Peter Port here in Guernsey. Hello and welcome to ITV News. The headlines on Channel this evening. Opening the borders. Jersey's politicians debate plans to allow air and sea arrivals within days. Good evening. It is the news surely everyone in Jersey has been waiting and hoping to hear. Almost all restrictions could be lifted by the middle of June. In the past hour, the government has set out its roadmap back towards a sense of normality. The announcement that Flybe had gone bust came at around 3 o'clock this morning. The airline's final flights had touched down just a few hours before that, bringing to an end 4 decades of air travel by a company which started here in Jersey and grew to become Europe's biggest regional carrier. Sally Simmons reports now on the end of an airline. Senator Mezek, half of the recommendations still not completed. I mean, it's simply not good enough, is it? If this was a school report, that falls below even must do better, surely.
To be perfectly honest, I don't think that it will ever be good enough.
This does leave parents in a difficult position because many will have been budgeting for this extra provision being in place from September, and they're now wondering whether or not that's actually going to happen. Do you understand the difficult position that this puts parents in?
I understand that parents absolutely desire and want choice when it comes to education provision for the early years.
They were told, though, this was happening. You're now saying it might not.
Well, again, we are working towards that policy.
Is your aim still to provide this extra nursery provision in September?
As I said in the States, the policy has not been ditched. It is something which we are working towards.
Good evening. As descriptions of accommodation for nurses go, calling it not fit for purpose is pretty much as bad as it gets. It would be damning criticism from anyone, but is surely worse when it comes from the man in charge of Jersey's civil service. You've previously said the accommodation we provide for nursing is crap. That's quite an admission.
So a lot of our short-term accommodation wasn't fit for purpose.
Thinking particularly about travel, the border restrictions have always been controversial, haven't there? There are those who want the border to be completely closed to protect people living in Jersey. There are others who want residents and tourists to be able to come and go quite freely. How do you try to balance those two competing concerns over the coming months?
Well, I think we've learned a lot in the last year. We managed to have some successful tourism last summer.
And are airlines telling you they plan to resume services?
Yes, they are. We have very close communication with all of our transport providers, both air and sea.
These are bold plans involving converting, expanding and revamping existing facilities to provide, in just over a decade, 3 large new sports centres. But before that, new homes need to be found for sports currently at Fort Regent. So, at Oakfield, a new all-weather pitch and sports hall will be built on the tennis courts, eventually becoming the new home of Jersey Netball.
James Webster reports from Aberdeen in South Wales.
Well, tonight the river level here remains high. It's fast flowing and carrying debris. The bridge here also remains closed, as are many other flood affected routes across Wales. There is still an amber warning for heavy rain in place till 6 o'clock tonight. That's in around 40 minutes time. Then it's downgraded just 1 level to a yellow warning until midnight. Right now there are 28 flood warnings and 43 flood alerts, with a potential for hills to channel more water down to here. The risk of further flooding hasn't gone away yet.
That has only been...
Well, I'm terribly sorry. We appear to have lost the connection to Serena, who is working from home today. As you can imagine, some of the Wi-Fi connections we are using at the moment can fail at times. Many apologies there. A small, make that very small, patch of land in Le Picarel has secured planning permission for a narrow, very narrow house, but those living nearby describe it as a nightmare. Kate Prout takes up the story. This is my first time at the West Show, so the team here decided that I really had to throw myself into a very traditional Guernsey activity. It is something I've never tried before, lawnmower racing. I have to say I was slightly concerned when I had to fill in a form effectively signing my life away, but take a look at how I got on. That is really quite difficult, but really good fun. I think he let me win that one, yeah? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hit the button. And that's the signal to start this year's Channel Islands lottery draw. Right now, those numbers are being crunched in the computer behind me, and we will bring those numbers to you in just a few minutes' time. But first of all, Father Christmas,
yes,
what would you do with £1 million?
Oh my goodness, James, I need for nothing, my boy.
Some interesting interpretations of the Christmas story there.
I love it. I think particular favourite. They were going to Bethlehem because there was a disease.
Yeah, I think they were actually going to get taxed. So I mean, some of the parents might agree that tax is like a disease.
And they brought gold, myrrh and frankincense system.
Oh, and Frankenstein, I heard as well.
Yeah.
Well, lots of them did get it right.
It's brilliant. By my count, we've played the weather jingle 5 times. Beryl the dog is going to be up and down so quickly
She's going to be all over the place. Poor Beryl.
And that's the ITV News in the Channel Islands at the end of the first week when all our islands are in lockdown. That forecast of warm sunshine at any other time will be an invitation to head out and make the most of the weather. Not this weekend. Staying in has never been more important. And when you see those empty streets and beaches, the advice is don't think of them as a cause for concern. See them as a sign of hope that we're all working together to beat this. From all of us here, look after yourselves, take care and stay safe. Good night.